Long time no see. Hi, I'm going to talk about a self-vulva massage demonstration that I did back in 2018. I posted something about it on a Facebook group, which is called Sacred Sexuality Rising. And for whatever reason, people checked me out in that group, so all the posts that I put there, and that post got more hits recently and more questions, and I told myself this is a beautiful topic to bring actually here. Hi everybody, this is Liana, Holistic Intimacy Coach. Welcome back to my channel. Here I help you get your orgasmic intimacy. Before I get into this really succulent talk, I want to remind you that first of all I'm about is doing things, okay? You know the saying, make shit happen? I'm like, make sex happen. So get your orgasmic intimacy, actually do things. So for that reason and for that invitation, I actually have a few resources on YouTube. First and foremost, I have 2 guided meditations. One of them, because I do not own the copyrights to the tune, is filled with advertising, which I cannot control. I encourage you to check both of those, download them, and listen to them on your cell phone. A lot of the people here have said that they are very complex. And yes, they are. They are not your just 2-3 lines that repeat themselves for over an hour. They are complex, okay? Freaking taking it to the very 2 next levels. Okay, another resource also here on YouTube are the sexuality practices. They are 10 to 15 minutes of practices. They don't show much. Okay, they're not like the demonstration that I did in that women's retreat. Absolutely not. They have to remain on YouTube, so you can understand that, right? However, they are very good exercises for embodiment and for working on an embodied mentality, healthy one towards sexuality, constructive one. They are not the best quality of video, audio. If you want really high quality stuff, video and audio, I invite you to check out my programs in the dojo. Those are filmed with professional videographers. And I'm actually going to mention one of those programs because it makes sense for the discussion today. It's women's practices. 12 weeks worth of practices filmed with high quality image, high quality sound, and I show the practices. You get to follow along. I encourage you to check out that program. Ladies, it is a gem for you. Last but not least, I also have audio practices for those of you that don't really afford right now the costs for the online program. It's not that expensive if you ask me. I've seen really high-end priced programs, but if you can't afford even that price, then you have a very accessible version, which is just audio, and it's on Patreon. I'm going to link my Patreon account under. Check it out also. So I have solutions for everybody's pocket. I'm all about getting you, ladies and gentlemen, to actually do stuff differently and better, whatever better means for you in your intimacy. Back to our topic, self-vulva massage. So 2018, I did my very last women's retreat. I had, 8 participants. I was number 9. And we were in a secluded place in the Romanian Carpathian Mountains. It was a very old house, country style. We were seated, like all the practices, we did them in a hallway at the 2nd floor, so where the rooms were. It was warm. It was this wooden house, and we had these really thick Romanian blankets that we sat on or lay down on. So from that perspective, it was really, really a unique flavor. And in that setting, because I love those settings, I took ladies to take a deep dive or an immersion into women's practices. Obviously, that's what I'm about. We were watching also videos around, oral sex for women, for men. We were doing all sorts of embodied meditations, so really intense practices that involve breath work, movement, sounds, complete cessation of everything. So in this entire intense 4-day retreat, at the very end, I did a self-vulva demonstration. What it entailed, first of all, was that I sat right in front of the ladies were in a semicircle, and I sat right in front of them, and I splayed myself open. It was just women, so for me that was not a problem. And I started doing the entire massage that, by the way, I show on a prop in women's intimate massage. I have this class also in the dojo, feminine massage. I show it on a prop, but in that event, I showed it on myself. I was not in any advanced states because I actually had to also explain. I didn't have anybody to do the demonstration on me and explain, so that I could just be in those states and show what those states look like or sound like. So, from that perspective, I was in the mental space. But with all the ladies there, I was in the full Monty. There's a movie called The Full Monty. It's a British movie, by the way. So I did that, the full Monty for these ladies. And I went through all of my feminine parts and showed how they can be touched. I also told them, look, this kind of movement, it doesn't do much for me. For other women that I've worked with or other colleagues, when I got trained, it did more. So I explained for each part on the outside, and on the inside, I was basically, they couldn't see, you can't see inside a woman's vagina unless you are the, the Masters and Johnsons used, the Ulysses, the device that filmed inside. Okay, well, I don't have that. So, but I told them the movements that I was doing. The entire thing, which was more intense for the eye to see and for women to look right into my, genitalia, basically. And we weren't that far away. It was not like in a university or academic class where you have I don't know how many meters between the teacher who's in front of a blackboard or something and at a desk and the seats. No, it was like a meter or so away. They were really close. I'm not that big, so they had to see. But the beauty of it, first of all, was the fact that I was showing myself like that. They asked questions. So they waited until I finished the entire demonstration, so all the movements. I put back on, I had this sarong. I'm not sure what the English word for it. It's a cloth that women usually have at the beach. So they wear bathing suits, but they put this on top of that. So I was wearing that. And when I got back into that sarong, they started asking questions like, what does it feel? How was it for you? How do you tell somebody, how do you guide a man to do exactly the movement that you want? And how do you remember those movements? That's when I reminded them that, look, I have them all filmed and they make sense in a video. It's also written explanation. So from learning all the movements, you get a class that is specifically designed for that. Here in the experience, what I invite you to do, as I was showing and talking to them, focus on what you feel, what you remember, what impresses you, what leaves a mark on you. And just remind yourself that you can intuitively, once you get an idea, you go through a class or a demonstration, you then intuitively remember and you can discover the rest of them. Because when you start to apply certain kinds of movements, pressures, order of doing things, obviously, you get to intuitively discover the movements for yourself. That's how they were invented, quote unquote. Somebody intuitively discovered them. Now, in the Facebook group that I put this post, there were also men who were impressed at the idea, so it got their imagination going. And a lot of them said, wow, this is a thing of beauty. Is this done often? I haven't been to many women's retreats, and I don't know how other women guide retreats. I will bet you $1,000 on every day of the week that if a woman is trained around sexuality, she will do that. If other women are trained in yoga, meditation, just femininity overall, This one is too direct. This one is perceived as more masculine. For whatever reason, we have to put names, feminine, masculine. But this one is perceived as more direct, masculine, abrupt. So not many women demonstrate, not many facilitators demonstrate on themselves in front of the participants. You don't see that every day. That is true. In my case, it was just Romanian women. One of them was like, wow, I'm really proud we actually have Liana to do this kind of stuff here. It's needed. And let me tell you, after the entire discussion, questions, everything were over, ladies were taking turns to ask me, okay, but I got a question. They had a lot of insecurities around how their genitalia looked. So vulvas, the outside. The vagina, the inside of a woman's genitalia, they don't have that many issues with it because it's not visible, the outside. But they didn't ask them in a group, okay? And one of them actually, she said, look, I want to show you something. Please, could you look and tell me if this is normal? There was nothing abnormal there. It was like every genitalia is different. And that's why I love, at least, there are books of drawings of women's vulvas. They are different. Labias look different. The clitoris looks different. You know, inner labias are different for women. Outer labias also. Colors, all of that. So skin colors and skin tones. Women are so conscious of this because, you know, it's so buried in shame, this part of our body, that we're ashamed to even look at it. Like some women don't look at their genitalia. In women's practices, the online practice that I actually have one of the latter weeks goes on to, okay, ladies, we're going to take a round mirror, you know, those that you have in the bathroom where you check out your zits or whatever, or your dark spots. And you just put it on a mattress and you sit right next to it and you take a good look at your genitalia. You have to get used to that image. And one of the women in the demonstration actually made this comment. I think my partner knows my genitalia, my vulva, better than I do because he looks at it a few times a week. I almost never look at it. So my immediate question was, what would it take for you to start doing that? We could hear silence. Basically, that was the answer. So there's a lot of shame just around this part of the body. So naturally, a lot of the questions that could have come in the group and could have been addressed for everybody, they were addressed, you know, in private. That was one thing that I noticed. So that's why probably not all women's retreats do self-vulva demonstration. And not all facilitators are actually comfortable to show their vulvas to other women. It's just women, you know. So it's not like some sex-craved guy is gonna drool over there. Drool, I think. Salivate right there and just lose it or whatever. No, it's none of that. Most women are not going to do that kind of stuff. I wouldn't do that kind of stuff. It's not the point of the self-vulva massage was to get women used to, okay, this is the kind of movements that you can do on your body. This is what it looks like when you do it. You could also show your partner all of these things. If he could hold the space to not jump you, just wait, you know, for the whole thing to be over. Ask questions, like really take it as a learning experience in the couple. Not many men can hold space for that. They don't even have the patience for that, some of them. Sorry, guys, I'm not... I like I said in many videos, I love men. One day I'll marry one. I'm not sure who, but that's a different topic. But, so I'm still interacting with men, not women, but there are some things that you're not so good at. And that's probably because of how, like, women are really, they suck at showing themselves to their partners. They suck at telling what they want or explaining, or they simply suck at having more confidence in their genitalia. Whereas men suck at holding space for women to show themselves. And really take learning from this kind of experiences. That's where, like, each of us suck at, you know, to keep the balance here. Another question that popped in the Facebook group was around, is it also for men? So I said, no, in my case, I don't do that. It's not the purpose of my work. It's not, I'm not, as a woman, I don't show my genitalia to men. I mean, just randomly, you know, even if it is for learning purposes, no way. I think there's a very limited number of women, like very few women on the planet that would actually enjoy doing this. I'm definitely not one of them. I mean, my lady balls are definitely brave enough to study this stuff and show whatever I have to show for learning purposes, but just to do a demonstration in front of men, no. And I don't even want to take it as a thing of pride, you know, to do it because I have to prove something. No way. It's really hard for men to hold space for something like that. The only thing that I, and what other women I encourage to do also, what I'm comfortable to do is in a relationship with somebody that I chose and he chose me back. So it's reciprocating, you know, choices, reciprocating emotions, reciprocating attraction. Reciprocation is a big thing here. So only in that interaction do I show myself and am I willing to go do all sorts of crazy things, because you can do so many other things. But otherwise, the only contribution that I'm willing to bring to the planet, whatever this means, even if it's just 1,000 women that I reach, it's to empower women by doing and by showing, by being in that way, to express sexually, explore sexually, learn sexually, teach their partners about their bodies, and also be willing to be taught by their partners about their bodies, and also do that in a way that everybody's, you know, within their comfortable and safe boundaries. Because let me tell you, in my explorations, I've also had partners that were not so conscious. And one thing that I know is that when you do a sexual exploration and it definitely went outside, in my case, a woman's boundaries, it leaves a scar and it takes a lot of time to get past that. Yes, just like professional athletes get accidents or they get injuries, so too can any professional run across a situation that goes out of hand. So this is not to say that they're not good at what they're doing. Everybody can go into this kind of place because sometimes they just happen. It's not that you want to, they just do. But if you're careful, you can reduce to the minimum that number of incidents and crossing boundaries in sexuality. I'm going to encourage you to check out that post also. I'm going to link it under this video if you are on Facebook, if you want to join that group. But most importantly, just by listening to a conversation or by reading a few words, the powerful, truly powerful thing here is to live something like this. So go out to an event, go out, work with somebody, and actually embody these things. That's what I'm about, embodiment. For me, it's not enough just to talk about something. I want to do it. I want to live it. Whenever I can't embody, fulfill, live, express something, that is the biggest torture for me, actually. And also the biggest waste of life, time, youth, and potential. If you feel like doing something and for whatever reason it could be possible, when it doesn't happen, man, that is the worst waste of all, and pity also. That's my approach. So that's my take on self-vulva demonstrations. I wanted just to bring to you something that is on a Facebook group of mine because I care about this community and I want you to get new insights. But most importantly, I want to encourage you again and again and again. Work it, express it, embody it. Join my practices, whether you join the YouTube playlist with practices, whether you join me on Patreon, whether you join the online programs where you get to actually follow along those videos. That's an opportunity there. You have a lot of, I don't show my genitalia, but I'm very close to it in the online program also. But it's embodied wisdom applied that you also get to use and see. And last but not least, you can also work with me in person. If you're in the same place where I am right now, or through Zoom online, you get benefits, you know, no matter what you can afford also, but what you're willing to put in as time, you get benefits. So aside from just hearing about this, do it. Always, always do it. That's it. I wish you a beautiful weekend. For me, it's a Sunday afternoon. And I will see you with next videos. Bye.